Moon Knight episode 1 was crazy. So let's talk about it. Spoilers ahead. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So right off the bat, we see not Moon Knight, but Arthur Harrow, who is portrayed to be the main villain of this series. And we see him doing some sort of ritual here where he's breaking a glass and putting it inside his shoes and wearing it. Not sure exactly what it means yet, but maybe we'll find out in the future as this show progresses. Seeing as this scene gives a vibe of importance. And from there we're introduced to Moon Knight in his Stephen Grant persona, and he seems confused as to his personality disorder. Because he doesn't know what's going on, he tries to avoid sleeping at night, because when he does fall asleep, he ends up in a whole new area. It also looks to be that Mark Spector, Moon Knight's main personality, is in cohorts with Khonshu already, and he's working against Arthur Harrow, already interfering with his plans and preventing him from doing whatever he's doing. We get to see Arthur work in the name of the god Amit. And we see a lot of crocodilish imagery in this episode showing how Arthur is a strong worshipper of this goddess Amit, and that's considering she has the head of a crocodile, since she is the devourer of the dead and swallows the souls of those whose hearts are impure. And like Stephen Grant said at the beginning of this episode, that's why the hearts are left inside the sarcophagus. That's a big connection we're being introduced to already. And we're seeing in this episode that everything we're watching is from Stephen Grant's perspective, and how Khonshu is just a voice in his head calling him an idiot, since he is one not doing what Khonshu wants, and there's a huge power struggle for control of the body between Mark and Stephen, seeing that they both want to survive, and Mark's the only one capable of helping them survive. And we know we're seeing everything from Stephen's perspective, because every time we switch to Mark, we suddenly wake up in a whole new situation. And then we witness how a lot is changing between the time periods of Mark taking over and where we were last before Mark took over. Like, how are you going to explain that you missed a date because your alternate personality took over your body for a few days? How do you explain that to your job? We also get to view a lot of reflective imagery here, reflecting all the other personalities Stephen has within him in the mirror, mainly Mark, and him. And it's just an interesting conversation to view. Especially when we finally get to witness Moon Knight in action, which is our first look at Moon Knight in the series and our first look at Mark Spector's persona taking over his body. Honestly, this episode gave us a lot more than I expected, and if we're getting this much every episode, there's a lot going to be covered in this show, and there's a lot to theorize on what can happen next.